Right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. We are here. Mark's gonna sing us in. What's going on, sir?
I was having a Sly Stone appreciation afternoon in the car, and I was blaring Dance to the Music, blaring it in the new car, by the way.
Okay, I see the flex. I see the flex.
Oh, yes.
Well, man, it's been a minute since we have gotten on this thing together, man.
No, you've been doing a lot of other things, and I've been caught up with work, and life goes on, man. And I still follow you and D'Angelo on Saturdays too when I'm up. Check you guys out doing your thing, and I'll jump in a little bit.
Yeah,
man. This is about the music.
That's right. That's right. What's up, Myron? We see you in there. What's up, Deja? Jump on in the chat. You dig? We're about to get started. So tonight, I just wanted to have a conversation about Prince's soundtrack albums. You just looking back at the body of work, I was like, he legitimately has, like, you could say, like, yo, you should check out his soundtrack work. Like there's specific albums targeted toward movies, cinema.
Yes.
I think that's interesting, man. And that's an accomplishment. And we'll go through some of these. And then, of course, he's had songs that were featured in movies prominently as well, aside from his own movies. So just a little conversation, man, to kind of heat things up. I don't know if it's heating it up, but I was sitting here getting ready, and I started listening to some stuff just started playing. I don't even know where this is from. I'm assuming maybe it's a Love Sexy tour or something, but it's just Prince on the piano. And I was just like, you know what? It's not the super high quality, but it's good enough. And I just think it just get us into the mood. And what I was listening to, I was like, this is some dope ass performance. So we're just gonna vibe in as we get things started tonight.
Shut up.
And if you know what this song is, put it in the comments. Prince. I'm proud of.
Thank you.
Happy. I like when he be on this.
With that gospel feel.
Passion on your brother, I don't like winter. Singing and you got it on your car. Oh, what the hell, you always surrender. What's a strange relationship that we hold on to? Girl, just can't stand the shit you have there. More than that, I hate to see you sad. Even though I just want to show you. It's a strange relationship.
That's the thing, Eric. I don't know what this is from. I was hoping somebody else would.
I got no idea.
Strange relationship. Baby, you me. Gotta say, oh, I just can't stand to see you laugh.
Digging in.
All the night, I hate to see you sad. Living, I just might do something right. Was a strange relationship.
Somebody in the crowd is just digging, yelling, and screaming. Yeah, it does sound like Love Sexy. Ain't nobody bad but you. Oh, what he saying? That's he had the crowd tight, man. All right. Now I'm ready. My man said, I love it. All right. Welcome to everybody here. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel, share it, and all that good stuff. Again, I don't know specifically where that last bit of performance is from. It just says track 19 on my, it says track 9, but it doesn't say what it's from or nothing. Sound like it's part of the piano melody, could be from Love Sexy tour, but whatever it's from is dope. I literally just heard this earlier today. I was like, damn. But anyway, man, here with my man Big Sexy, and just wanted to get into some soundtrack album, just a little conversation. But before we get into that, to just jump on a rabbit hole for a second, and I could be just tripping, and I do that a lot. I was listening. Well, I'm not gonna say I was listening to Arms of Orion, but I was listening to the Batman album, and then when it came to that. But with that said, I'm listening to it, and I was just like, you know what? I could have seen this as the end of the Under the Cherry Moon movie, and it would be Christopher Tracy and Mary Sharon singing that song together. Like, I could just see them doing that, you know. Maybe they're in the clouds or something, floating onto the air, or some sort of fantasy thing or something. But I was like, yeah, I can see that. I'm saying it because a lot of people have sometimes they have a lot of shade for that song, but I kind of like it. You're one of them. But anyway, so let's just start and see where we get to and where we end up. So we're gonna start from the top. Of course, Purple Rain. Dun, dun, dun. You know, we all know that album. One of his biggest albums of all time. Absolutely. Probably one of his most famous pieces of work. But this was the soundtrack to, obviously, Purple Rain. And this is also the album that I would argue that, you know, Prince became a superstar, you know, off of this. It's obvious.
Yeah.
But I think it's interesting that it was a soundtrack album that did it. And then just in sort of terms of like, it also makes me think of, and as we go through this, how important the soundtrack album was, you know, even earlier than this, but just the lineage of soundtracks, particularly I think in the 90s, they just kind of whoosh, really become some of the bigger sellers. But I want to get your opinion, man. I mean, what do you think of, the soundtrack Purple Rain in terms of like where it fits in the pantheon of other soundtracks?
Well, obviously it's going to fit in there very well, but I do have a bit of a bone to pick with this one, and I'll expand more on it when we get to Graffiti Bridge. But to me, a soundtrack is going to contain at least all of the music. This should have been a 2-album set. It should have had the Time stuff on it. Should have had Apollonia 6 stuff on it. Damn sure should have had Modern Era on it. And I understand he wanted to break it up into 3 separate, album deliveries. I get that. But again, from a soundtrack standpoint, it's great, but it's not complete.
No, in terms of, I agree with you in terms of it being the complete soundtrack of the movie. You're absolutely right. But I think though that for me, when I first got into it, again, I don't think I thought of it that way necessarily because I wasn't familiar with some of the other works. But I mean, obviously I knew what Prince was and I started to learn what the Time was. But I think this album itself is even if it's not a complete soundtrack of the movie, it's a hell of a soundtrack.
No, it is.
That's what it is. Like, it is a complete. I think it tells the story of the movie
because everything on it is in the film.
Right.
I get that. But let's backtrack a moment. You weren't familiar with the Time when you saw this? Is that what I'm hearing?
I only knew a little bit of Morris Day. Those songs, from where I was living in Seattle, they weren't being played on top 40 radio, and I don't remember them really being played on the black station here either.
So you didn't know about Wild and Loose and
absolutely
and all that?
I said, I vaguely heard it, but they weren't like super smash hits here. So I had seen something of Morris, but I didn't really know what he was. I just knew he was kind of funny or something.
I'm gonna need your Prince card.
Absolutely. Oh, man. But yeah, I became a fan because of Purple Rain. Because those songs, none of those songs penetrated, at least in my young 15, I guess I would have been even younger than that. They weren't being played. Now, I had heard of the Time before, as I've said before. I just didn't know it when I had went to Houston, like in 81. Yeah. I remember they were playing it, but I didn't know what it was. And I certainly didn't see any videos. So, I had heard it, but had just no idea it was the same people. But, with that said, Purple Rain is, it's a monster. It's one of those albums as us as fans, we just kind of roll our eyes sometimes to it. But I don't want to discredit Prince's fabulous work on this album. This album is a beast. Like, you can roll your eyes if you want to, but this album is the shit, like from top to bottom. I don't think there's any filler on it. I don't feel like it's overproduced. No. I mean, it's just like absolutely pristine, badass. Yeah.
I do have to call out one little thing though. Mm-hmm. The album, I understand we have the limitations of vinyl back then, but they could have found a way to squeeze in the long version, Let's Go Crazy, because that's what's in the movie.
I agree.
But other than that, that's the only as far as the Prince music itself. No, everything else was in it and well represented, and it was also, I believe, sequenced on the album the same way it was in the movie.
Yeah, except for the ending part.
Except for the end. Yeah,
it was flipped. Yeah, going back to your thing about the long version, I agree, but hearing the album back when I heard it and not had heard before the 12-inch came out, you couldn't have told me that that was not the complete song, right? You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't sound like it's missing anything if you didn't know it. Like, that's how great I think
Yeah.
Prince edited this album. Even Computer, I would argue Computer Blue should have the full on. But with that said, the edit that he does of the song on the album is perfect. Like, I don't feel like you're not getting enough. You know what I mean? I only changed my mind about wanting the longer versions in after I heard them. But if I had never had heard them, I would have never said, this song seems like it's lacking something. Like, masterful editing.
No, I agree completely. Because again, no one knew about the long version until the film came out.
Right.
You know, the film comes out and they're doing their thing. All of a sudden, he's at the piano. I'm like, what the hell? This ain't on the soundtrack.
It was like, yo, especially when he's that piano part. I was like, damn, what is this? Like, but yeah.
And of course, the infamous Morris, we're gonna kill him.
Right. I think we have to do another watch along to that movie. I think it's a due time.
Got to.
Yeah, I think we got to. Let me know if you're interested to see that in the comments, where we should do a watch along of it with the running commentary and talking shit.
I will confess this. When that movie was out, I was working at Fernandez Guitars, and doing my roadie thing at the same time. I made myself a cassette of all the dialogue around all the album versions of the music. And I'd be sitting in the warehouse. I want to know when that sweet thing shows up. You see, you come get me. Cool. Come get you, let you know the girl is there. For the babies, that wouldn't be too cool. I don't want to break their hearts. So you have to have like a signal. A password. Okay, what's the password? You got it. I got it.
and that's classic. I mean, that's cinematic classic to me.
Oh, it is. It is.
One of them.
Pays homage to who was on first and just took it a whole nother direction.
Yeah, man. Yeah. It's funny when I think of.
I see you, Eric.
Onion head. I almost think of like Purple Rain, some comedy parts of it, in the same way I would think it's a classic, like the movie Friday.
Yeah,
like I just think you can always watch it. It's always, and you remember all the parts about it, the funny parts. You say it. You know what I'm saying? It's like that's just that's why we've said this before in the show. But man, imagine if Morris and them had got to do another movie right after that and just let him go. You know what I mean? Like that, it could have been hella funny. I could have seen that being hilarious. It's just straight Morris.
There's so much missed opportunity with Morris. They never got him the right vehicle.
Yeah.
After this.
Yeah, he should have just played himself again, and it could have been a street comedy. Oh man, and they had the music and stuff. That would have been hilarious. All right, Purple Rain. There we go.
Poof.
Now this one right here. Well, let's do this. This is interesting. What do you think about Parade as a soundtrack album, though?
Again, I believe. No, I take that back. I don't think Parade is sequenced like Purple Rain was to go along with everything time-wise of the film, because Kiss was pretty deep into the movie before we hear it.
Kiss and Another Lover are sort of reversed, I believe, right?
Yeah.
No, wait. No.
No, was it Mountains at the end?
Right. Yeah, that's a little different. Actually, no, those ones. I don't know. Now you say that. Maybe it is kind of in order to some degree. I guess maybe it's about well, I don't know. People in the chat, are the songs? I don't have them. Are the songs on Parade sort of in the order of how they are sort of played a little bit in the movies? But in terms of that, now see, to me, I would argue on this album that it's not a complete soundtrack. Only because all of the sort of piano stuff and things that you hear in the movie, I thought was so good. All the instrumental stuff that I wanted to hear that stuff on the record. It's particularly, I'm still waiting to hear like Honest Man, like what was heard in the movie.
Well, maybe because those were considered score type things instead of actual soundtrack, which wasn't released anyway.
Right.
You know, had he released it as, you know, released that stuff, the incidental music as a score, it would have sold. You know, we'd want it.
Oh, well, have to go. Even the stuff off of Purple Rain, all of that incidental music,
Yeah.
I would have paid for that.
Yeah. Eric said Morris was fun in Ford Fairlane, which he was. But when I hear Ford Fairlane, I think of Booty Time by Al Bundy.
I vaguely remember that movie. I don't know if I ever
Booty
seen
Time, Booty Time.
Lord, is that in the movie or something?
Yes.
Okay, I haven't seen that.
Oh, God. All right, enough of that. Back to work.
Hilarious. Yeah, I mean, Morris was in a couple of things. What was that one with Richard Pryor?
Moving,
that's right. Yeah. He just went in the right thing. But getting back to Parade, but I think the songs, though, man. You see, I feel, you know, as I think about it, with Parade, though, I feel like the songs are cut too short. Like, it just feels like they should be going, you know, I'm like, why is that fate? You know, especially Another Lover.
Again, could have been a double album. You know, if you put them all in there at length, yes.
Yeah.
Or at least give the consumer the option of that. You know, like back in remember in the early 90s, they would have the clean version and the uncensored version of things you could buy. Do that.
Oh, yes. All My Dreams. Yeah, that would have been great. Venus de Milo. Love and Money. A lot of some of these made the B-sides.
True.
So they did get
Love and Money was in the movie too.
Right. Yeah, there was a lot of heat in Parade, man. Oof. And even the little when they started to play Mia Boca in the movie, I was like, damn, what is this? Yeah, Old Friends for Sale. That should have been absolutely. That would have been. But with that said, I think, you know, we'll talk about Parade another time deeply, but that album, man, is such it's a showpiece to me. It's like when he just it's like, oh, he got his money. He can record whatever they want to do. He can get the orchestra and he's gonna. I mean, he was flexing, man. Just, you know, even the way the album starts, right? With was it the first 3 songs just in a sequence or 4?
And he played them all at the same time in the studio.
Yeah,
just went through them all.
I wish that story had came out back when the album was released. Like, if they were like, you have to listen to this album because the first sequence of songs is just Prince playing. If they would have said that before that album came out, man, I would have been my head, our collective head would have been like, what? And you'd have been listening, like, because you didn't know what you was listening. I had no idea till years later that's what he was doing.
Oh yeah.
That's incredible, man. Just the instrumentation, the tones of that record, crazy album to this day. All right, you got anything else you want to say on Parade? We're not doing reviews, but you know.
No. And again, like you said, you know, like we both agreed, it could have been a little longer, but again, the limitations. We were at a time in '86. We were still transitioning fully from vinyl to CD. You know, so I get that, which means the vinyl, I don't believe, someone please correct me, I don't believe the vinyl was a 2-record set.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah. See, so we could have, and with all the room on the CD, they could have expanded it.
So I don't even think I knew CDs existed at that time. Pretty sure
well, they were still new because the first pressings of 1999 didn't have DMSR on them. Right. I remember that. I was pissed.
Yeah. What's up, Tanja? See you out there. But man, yeah, Parade. And you know, I also saying this too, you know, people who are just getting into Prince who come across these videos, these records that we're talking about, like I said, this is soundtrack Prince. That's a thing. So you can go just check those out and be like, yo, this cat was doing stuff for movies. You know, aside from all this other stuff, he was specifically making music for movies, and these last two
For
that we
these
talked
films,
about
yeah.
starred in these movies, right? Made movies. All right, we're gonna keep it moving. Bye.
Dang, dang, dang. We're alive on here.
Yeah. Woo! Batman. Let me say this off the top. Let me walk me do the walk of shame for a second. In real time, when this album was released, I hated it. Hated it with passion. I was so disappointed when this guy. I was like, "What is he doing?" You know, I was still into the Sign Times and Love Sexy. I was like, what is this sound? It sounds harsh. The only songs that I really just kept playing over and over were Party Man, which I now call Housequake 2.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Party Man, and my real jam was Vicky Waiting. Like Vicky Waiting, that when I look up Michael Dean, Prince type joints, that's you open right to that. But those two songs had me. I was sick of hearing Bat Dance by the time the album came. Well, just because it was such a huge hit, and it was just
it was.
You couldn't turn the TV on; it was all they were playing. So I was just kind of like, okay, I'm tired of it. But yeah, at the time when it came out, I remember buying that, and I put it up. I actually wasn't listening to it. Actually, I think that's kind of when I just decided I'm going back into the older Prince stuff, and I really just kept listening to like the Dirty Mind and Controversy album. And I was just like, that's what I'm on. But I came to my senses. This album, man, is so interesting, and I think it's even more interesting now that as big as that movie was, and that was a cultural moment when that movie came out. I don't know, you surely remember this.
Oh, yeah.
That was a part of pop culture. Batman, that symbol was everywhere. Everyone had the jacket or the hat, and not the jacket, but the t-shirt. We had to have the hat. We had both, but that was everywhere. It was such a big thing. So imagine now how big these superhero movies are today. But if you can think back at a time, like I said, if you just getting into Prince had a Batman album. Like that's crazy. And it was a hit. Like it was a big hit. And it's a brilliant album because, like Prince, he's making the songs as if they're from the Batman's perspective or Joker's perspective, but then it still is Prince. Like these songs could kind of just work as just Prince songs too. Like it's a brilliant album, man. I think it's interesting. And I want to hear from you. Like you are a super comic book guy.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that means you when they announced this.
Well, for me, there was a lot going on. When I first heard about it, I'm like, what? First, like, there's a Batman movie? Prince is doing it? I'm there. And then later on, I've heard that, or I read that Danny Elfman, who did the score part of it, they wanted him to work with Prince on the soundtrack, and Danny Elfman's like, that's Prince. There's nothing I can do for him. He's Prince. And so he just did the score, and it was a huge album. For me, it wasn't one of my top albums, but I loved Bat Dance and the Bat mix, the Vicky Vale mix, and the video had the little shot of Michael Jackson and Al Yankovic, and it introduced us to the lovely Candy Dulfer. Oh yeah, it was a great time. The video was a blast. Love that album. And again, that movie elevated the album. The album elevated the movie. It exposed each to different audiences. It was great. And from what I understand, financially, it put him back in a good position.
Yeah, coming off of Love Sexy and the tour, and then coming back with this. Man, this was like, the singles, of course, Bad Dance was big, Party Man, that video. Then there was the long version of the video, and just Prince. Who thought of doing Prince with the half face?
Gemini.
Joker. That's just so. God, man. That's dope, man.
Steve Rodney will do that.
I could see Prince playing the Joker. Like if they would have did a Batman movie and it was Prince as the Joker, I could see that.
No, I see Prince. We're going to be comic-y, and I'll keep it in DC. I see Prince being Mr. Mxyzptlk over in Superman's.
Hilarious.
That's where I see Prince.
Wow.
This little dude starting shit.
Wow. Interesting. All right. All right. But yeah, what's you know the song the future? I see the future.
Mhm.
I will also admit it wasn't until rather recently that that song has become a fate. Like I get that song more than I ever got. I think it's because I I would love to hear it. I need to go hear it live again, but the way he sings the verses is actually dope as hell. I don't it's a little how would I say on the to me on the album it's not dry, but it's just kind of a little straight. I wish he had a little more a little more swag to it, or he just kind of jumped behind the beat a little bit when he's doing the verses. But it's so that song is filthy, like god damn, and that's how it starts. I didn't get that when it first came out. I guess it took me years, but yeah, the future is a cold track. Might be one of my favorites at this point right now.
See, I'm the same way with Electric Chair. When I saw him do that on SNL, and they were serious too, I'm like, okay, here we go. Shout out to Patrice Rushen. I saw you back there, girl. Oh yeah. Oh
Man.
yes. I'm like, let me re-listen to this one again.
That was actually a headbuster performance because
Yes.
he hadn't performed any of those songs on TV, or we never seen him performing. That was the first time. It was well after Love Sexy, and like you said, I remember when he came up, he was like clean shaven,
Had the
long
bat
hair.
up there.
Like,
Oh yeah.
like, yo, he done changed his look up, and just everything. Patrice Rush out. I was just like, yo, who was that person playing that instrument? Yeah, that was crazy, man. I mean, that's when you would stay up. You knew he was going to be on, and you get your VCR ready. I got to record this. I got to get some. Let me get a fresh tape. You know what I'm saying? Or you had to sequence up your Prince tape where you had recorded all the TV stuff on. So okay, let me get it right to the end of the last one and get it queued up. All right, the commercial's coming back.
You have no idea how happy I was when I learned about a flying erase head in a VCR. Because that took out that little squiggly line that you got when you start recording, little squiggly color line. I'm like, oh yeah, now we got it. Let's do this.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, man. We are dating ourselves with these VCR talk, but it is what it is. Robin chiming in, say Prince was fine. Yes. Okay. I dig it. Yeah, bro, brother was clean, man.
Brother was clean.
And that's prime. I mean, he's young.
Had the hair whipped out. Oh yeah.
He was on his ish.
He was doing his thing.
Who was the young lady? Was it who was the one that introduced him? My mind blanks.
God, I don't remember.
It wasn't Kirstie Alley, was it? Or was it Kim Basinger? Somebody in the chat. Who was? Wasn't there a woman that brought him out?
Who was hosting that show? Wasn't it like that their 25th anniversary show or something like that?
I can't even remember. But yeah, it was some kind of anniversary thing. Now that you say that, I think it was.
And somebody came out and said, I think it was a cast member. Was Jerry Hall?
I think it was. Yeah. Mick Jagger's ex-wife. Yeah. It's so funny. These names, I don't know how much they matter to today, but I guess it'd be the equivalent of somebody said, and I'm not disrespecting, but if somebody was like, oh, it's Kim Kardashian, or it was, you know what I mean? It would be like what's the girl with my man from Snowfall? What's the young girl's name? Everybody, they be on her. Somebody in the chat put it in. It'd be like or it'd be like Karrueche. Is that the girl used to be with Chris Brown? Oh yeah, that's Chris. Like, who was that? 30 years later, 40 years later, like, who the fuck was that? Oh man, she it was kind of popping back then. But anyway.
She had 15 minutes. Yeah, that's all we can ask for.
But yes, the Batman album, incredible piece of work. And like I said, I love that it ties Prince to Batman. Like, you know what I'm saying? And it was super successful for him. That's a major album in the Pantheon of Prince stuff is the Batman album.
That album was huge.
Yeah, man.
Huge.
That was awesome.
Well, let me ask you this. Were you
Yes,
a real
Lori
G?
Harvey, that's what I
Did you have the Bat 10? The little bat.
You know what? I did have that. Yes.
All right, cool.
Oh, absolutely, man. I remember I bought that. It was some weird record store that had it. Yeah, I think I paid like $20 or something.
I miss those little like one shot record stores,
Oh,
you know, not,
yeah.
not part of a chain. They have all the good stuff in there. The import section. I
Yeah,
miss
and of
that.
course we mentioned earlier that even the 12 inches was dope here. It still had dope 12 inches. The mix started doing more of the remixing stuff. Purple Party Mix, Party Man. Man, that's what I was listening to Party Man. I was like, you know what, this is basically this is Housequake
Part 2.
and not in a bad way, but I was like,
No.
it's Camille. He brought Camille back, and I could see like, oh, this would have been on the second album of Camille or something. I'm back, Party Man. It would have been a whole. It was a whole thing, like the video and all that kind of stuff. All right, so yeah, Batman, great album. Which leads us, you know, and this is to say, he just did a soundtrack album. His next album is a soundtrack.
All right, I have to gloss for a moment. On
Go
that
ahead.
cover of that album, my personal friend, Miss Edgar Chavez. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Yes. My
But yeah,
personal friend. Yes.
There you go. Graffiti Bridge, another soundtrack album, and I guess a more complete soundtrack album than all the other ones. This is actually a double vinyl. It's a double CD.
I looked today. It's double vinyl. It's not double CD.
Oh, what? Okay, double vinyl. I had the cassette tape when it came out, and I remember when this dropped, man. I was so hyped for this, and it was before the movie. It was a little bit well before the movie came out, if I'm not mistaken, or just seemed to feel that way. It definitely was.
Yeah, because Thieves
There
in
was a
Temple came
nice
out long
gap.
before that.
Yeah, there was a nice gap, and I would just play this over. I was trapped into this album. I was just like, I would play it over and over. I was just like, and you know what I was doing was, I was so anticipating what the movie was going to be like. So when I was listening to the songs, I was like, oh, I can kind of tell what's happening right here. You know, he starts off with the monologue at the beginning of the album. Dear Dad, things didn't turn out quite. I was like, oh, this is the kid. You know what I mean? I was all in, and then I loved what's the beginning of the song? I'm saying,
Can't stop.
Can't stop.
Feeling I got. Can't stop.
I was like, this is kind of like a Let's Go Crazy, but you know what I mean? It was kind of the same. I was just like, I thought this was gonna start the movie, and I was just like, oh, this is dope. I was sucked in. Even the time stuff, and you know, I mentioned Shake and all that, but before the movie came out, I was like, oh, party people want to play it, get hype, release it. I was like, oh, this is, they kind of got, doing some hip hop. What is they rapping? It was kind of like I could buy it because I didn't know. I was just my expectation was so high for the movie. It made me love the music even more, man. What was your thoughts on this?
I have to say that when I first heard Release It, I'm like, yeah. Then I saw the clip in the movie where Jimmy caught the little sample. You got it? Uh-oh.
I was in there like,
I'm like, uh-oh, we have a thing here. But for me, they gave some shine to, and I this word is overused, but not in this case, the legendary Mavis Staples. Because I'm Melody and I'm still cool. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I get paid for counseling.
My sister's name is Melody, and I play that song all the time when I'm around her.
Dope. That song's dope.
Yes. But again, a couple of the songs, they kind of missed me. And the only thing I'm gonna say Still Will Stand for All Time.
Oh.
And the only thing I remember about that song is from a performance where somebody's getting the lyrics wrong. He's like, "Who the fool said would?"
Prince is wild.
He will pull your card on stage. He don't give a shit. He will let you know.
And the fact that it was recorded, so we got to actually hear it,
Yes.
as opposed to them telling you stories, but you get to hear it for yourself. That would live forever, man. Yeah, let me just jump into some of these comments here too. Yes, Robin, elephants and flowers. Man, I think that's you don't like that.
No, wait, hold on. I didn't say I like it. But the performance of it, he's got the little animant looking paint on his face a little bit. Yeah, I'm like, come on, man. You're better than this.
Yeah, but the song to me,
song is great. Song is great.
And the way he was doing his voice.
Step down. Oh yeah.
Think I'm gonna fall in love tonight. Yeah, there's joy and repetition. And we've done a review on this, but this album, man, if you really listen to it now, you can see how Prince went in his bag. He was like, okay, let me go pull some heat off the shelf. Because a lot of these songs are, these are older songs. Yeah, let me retool that. But this is fire. Because, man, New Power Generation, Bold Generation, Joy and Repetition.
Let me rap.
Joy and Repetition, he pulled that out. I think Question of You.
Mm-hmm.
Man, that song was ridiculous. Man, that song bumping, and the guitar solo and all the clap, man, he was in the zone. And it's a Joy and Repetition. Those songs to me are, that's like Sign of Times masterclass cuts that just didn't want to use at that time or whatever. Them songs is crazy to me.
Yeah.
Brought
in young Kevin.
Yeah, Round. I hated Round and Round when it came. And why? Because at the time when this came out, that's when the dance kind of house beats music was starting to kick. And there were legitimately dope songs in that genre. But I didn't feel at the time, one, I didn't want to hear Prince have nothing to do with that stuff. I was on my snob. I was like, why are he doing they stuff?
That's but not what we do. Come on.
Yeah, I was just like, and I was really snobbish about the drum sounds. I was on that. So why does it sound like that? Why he didn't and then but the thing is, I was low-key hating too, because to me, it is a fabulous song. It's a great Prince song. I just think they was going for the house thing, so they did it that way. But I think the song, the core of it itself, is phenomenal. And Tevin's voice, beautiful, man.
And that came right on the heels of the stuff he was doing on Back on the Block with Quincy.
Yeah, man. But yeah, his voice, beautiful. To me, Tevin's voice was, I'm not comparing him to Michael, but to me, it was the same kind of like innocence. Like there's something, the tone of his voice that just sounds perfect, which is why I think a song like, I'm not Tevin, but Can We Talk? That's because the way his voice is on that, it's a perfect song with the perfect voice.
It's a great song.
I think Round Round, somebody said Round Round is terrible. I get it, but I think it's the song itself, what he's talking about, I think it's great, man. I think it's uplifting. Prince wrote another hit. It was one of the bigger songs off the album, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
that was played all the time on TV. You couldn't turn on the video. Next up, Round and Round. Tevin Campbell. I was like, and jivvy, he was killing me with the scratches and all. It was killing me.
Oh, that was bad. Oh, the scratches were bad. Don't do that.
Each one was, it was, as they say now, was cringed out. I was in the theater. Me and Toby was like, this. But we just hating.
I was drinking a glass of Haterade. I will own that one.
Somebody weak and funk. Again, Prince went in his bag. Oh, I need some. Oh, we can fuck. Let me switch that. Put that on here. Because he killing him, man. Thieves in the Temple.
Boom.
And that 12-inch version.
The long version on the video. I saw it on a video vibrations. I'm like, what is this? Okay, here we go.
Shout out to Robin Power.
You know,
when you saw that
video, on the soundtrack.
Lord, that's why he's like, God damn it, Prince. God damn, he be getting cold. But anyway.
Yeah, there was no I'll be your number one. Not your number two, not your number three. I'll be your number one.
We was on a nice. We was on a nice.
Yeah, we're gonna leave off the soundtrack. No, we're gonna make it. Sorry.
Yeah, the Asian Temple is crazy. Was with Melody Cool. In the Time songs, Love Machine.
I like Love Machine.
Love Machine.
I like Love Machine.
I got toys, turn your body out. Hey,
make you scream and shout.
Yeah.
That was jam.
Yeah. Get them more. I know you're a liar. Hey, yeah. They was killing them. They was killing them. I feel like I'm leaving something else off that record that I really like. Still stand all time to me. It's one of my favorite songs. Period. Like, man. You know, people have said this over the years, but playing the album with just Prince's songs only, that's a cold body of work right there. If you just play the Prince songs, not to shit on the other ones, but playing Prince's stuff, that's a cold body of work. If you listen to it.
TP, I will fight you behind that statement.
Oh, he said Love Machine was, you know, I'm mad at it. Everybody got that. Yeah, man. Tick Tick Bang. Another one. Pull that out the bag, man.
That's Tick Tick Bang. Yeah.
Why? You know,
and little steps.
All right, so you on the move. You're stuck on the visual.
Yeah, you're right. I gotta have the visual. You're right.
The movie's something else.
Tick Bang. No.
But yeah, that's no. And one thing I wondered with this album versus the other ones, this soundtrack has more songs.
Yes. And
songs by other artists. But it almost feels like the songs weren't necessarily made for the movie, though. They were just
there.
Songs that were there.
Yeah.
Which I don't know sometimes if it tells the story enough of the movie. As I think about, we're losing one song, which I know everyone's going to hate, which I've already established that I love, the song Graffiti Bridge. Again, before the movie came out, I would play that over and over. Now, as I have, let me explain, as I explained before, I grew up with yum ya, yum ya, yum dun, dun. You know, the Ewoks all come together.
Oh, what the hell was that, man? Okay.
This nigga just started talking Ewokian. So, I mean, so that can inform you sort of my frame of reference. So I grew up with that. I love the end of the movie. You know, we all kumbaya. We did it. Get the medals. So listening to that song, I just knew that the movie was going to end like that record. You know, because all of them come together on the record and sing, you know, Mavis comes on. I love her voice in it. It's heaven. I love when he starts singing. This is that hopeful, corny, and even so I adored it. So I was like, I can't wait to see the movie because I know the ending, they're gonna do that. And even while I'm watching the movie, And when watching it, you know, you come in before the movie starts. Oh, I can't believe this is gonna be great, man. This thing is gonna be great. And then you start watching it, and it's like, it's about to get good in a minute. They just, you know, Prince, he always come with, oh man, let him cook. Let him cook.
Let him cook. Let him cook.
Yeah, it actually turned for me that moment you did earlier when he caught the sample. At that point, I knew we was in for trouble. I was like, if they don't stop playing, and then, you know, so even with all of that, the disappointment of seeing the movie, I was still, well, at least at the end of this, they're gonna all come together. And it didn't happen. I was like, even the cornball part of me was like, man, damn, I can't even get that. So yeah, but I love that song. And as I have played on the show before, there's a earlier version of that song which really has Bonnie and Sheila E's vocals on there, and it's slightly different. The wording, I think, is brilliant. It just sounds like some Love Sexy, you know, crescendo or something. But the thing is, I get the idea what Prince was shooting for. He didn't do it. He didn't stick to the landing. But I
took a swing, you know.
Yeah, I get the idea that I want to do the, you know, positivity, spiritual message. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that would have been dope. I just, you know, but it didn't come out that way. But I admire the thought of it. Like, because he didn't have to do it. He could have just been like, yo, I'm about to do, you know, some wild R-rated movie. You know what I'm saying? Let me give him that, Prince. But he was like, no, let me give you. So I get it. And somebody said, sorry, that song always reminds me of the Caribbean. I've already established, like I'm saying, yeah, the Ewoks, all that, you know. But anyway, so yeah, Prince's fourth soundtrack album.
Now, someone in the chat mentioned or asked about the possibility, do Girl 6 and the Love Symbol album count as soundtracks?
Well,
I don't think so, but let's see what you think.
I Love Symbol. Why was that a movie? Oh, you're thinking like 3 Chainz
long-term video, yeah.
I would personally say no, but I could see the argument from that standpoint. Girl 6, I have that up here. So the first 4 that we've done, those are particularly soundtrack albums that were made by Prince. You know, the intention is this is new material, retooled material that's for these movies. Now, this one is a compilation, that contains a couple of new songs on it. But I feel like it is a soundtrack because the whole movie is featuring Prince's
stuff.
Music. And the only thing I can really remember that really stood out for me in the movie, Pink Cashmere, that scene, it's still somewhat in my mind every time I hear that song. But I was like, I remember watching that at the theater. I was like, man, Spike really matched this up. I was like, God, it was interesting. You know, what was interesting is that to me, Prince was such a singular or solo experience that I would listen with myself. I didn't really know too many people who were deep Prince fans like we do now. You can connect, but back then there's nobody I could really, aside from Tobias, you know, I just thought, we were just the 2 dummies that are into this. So when I was watching the movie, I was like, wow, Spike Lee must really know some Prince music, because I felt like it fit in the movie so well. And I had never seen that before. I was like, and not that unless it was Prince doing it. So I was like, I didn't like the movie that much, but I loved the music in it. Like, I just thought it really worked. I need to actually watch this movie. I don't think I've seen it since seeing it in the theater.
See, Teresa Randall could do no wrong for me. That's my girl. Oh, love me some Teresa Randall.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, I mean, it was a Spike Lee joint. Spike and Prince hook up. Like, that was a big deal. And I used to jam this album You know, what was the other one? Wasn't She Spoke to Me was on there?
She spoke to me. Yeah.
I thought that song was dope. I was like, oh. I was like, oh.
Consider this: is it possible that She Spoke to Me was like a precursor to Dinner with Dolores?
I could see that. Yeah. But yeah, Pink Cashmere. Then it had like they pulled out the Family Streams of Passion.
Nasty Girl. Oh, yeah.
Nasty Girl. That was also like for me, I think it was the first time I had some of those songs on CD.
You know, I remember back in like 83 or 84, I could have had the Vanity Sixth CD. I was up in Chico. I had no money.
I had no money.
Damn.
Couldn't just go online and get it. He's like,
I can't do that. No.
But yeah, girl, and the song "Girl 6," I thought that was dope too, man. Girl 6, yeah, Girl 6. I was like, man, stop playing, Prince. But yes, now before we continue on, this I wanted to also just bring up, you know, soundtracks, man. I don't know how they are like today, but soundtracks are like some of the dopest albums are soundtrack albums.
For me, and I'm older than you are,
yeah.
For me, the very first album I bought with my own little money was the soundtrack to Superfly. Because I was a Curtis Mayfield fool back then when I was a kid. Love me some Curtis. You know, Shaft soundtrack. And to me, what put the Bar-Kays in immortal status with me was their performance on Wattstax on that soundtrack. They stole the show. I'm the son of a bat.
I love that movie.
Down. You know, and then you come up into like the mid 70s. You have, you know, Your Thing, the Star Wars theme, which was enormous. You know, the little Cantina band song. Car Wash. Huge.
Actually, I love all the ones you mentioned. We cannot go past the Mac or Willie Hutch.
Cannot do that.
Foxy Brown soundtrack. This is some cool records.
You know, then of course you have the Bee Gees Take Over the World with Saturday Night Fever. You know, they did their thing.
Dope.
You know,
Grease.
Grease.
The Grease soundtrack. I'll play that today. I will play that today with no shame in the car. Bro. I go together like wow.
You could have picked a better song, but okay.
I'm riding today. I don't give a yeah, soundtracks are like, I mean, we said it at the top, but the Superfly soundtrack, that for many years growing up, and I didn't even know what it was, but just the visual of it was synonymous with anybody's house I went to. Like if you were looking through their record, they had just that little fold out part on the album. And you know, the dude, he almost like he was James Bond or something. I was like, what is this? Everyone has this. And then when I had heard the songs, but didn't know it was from that. But then when I came of age to listen, I was like, whoa, this shit is crazy.
I never saw the movie. I've never seen the movie all the way through either. Never. Interesting. The original, never.
It's not a great. Actually, I watched the movie last year. Now that you say that, because I don't think I had ever really watched it either. It's an interesting movie. It's interesting though. The record is bigger than the movie, but the visuals. I think the visuals, and we've talked about this in the podcast. The visuals of Priest, are strong, and you can see them in Prince. Like it's obvious had an impression how he tailored his look. But yeah.
See, like I said, I mentioned that because I bought it because I was a Curtis Mayfield nut, and I was like 8 years old. And the reason I was a Curtis Mayfield nut before that, which I finally have on CD, there's a Curtis Mayfield live album that he recorded at the bitter end.
Yes.
In New York. And I think I said this on the podcast
Curtis
before.
Live, isn't it?
Yeah, Curtis Live.
Yeah.
I think, and my mom's friend Dee Dee was having a little party, and the kids did a quote unquote talent show. I'm like, what am I going to do? I got up there and sang, "If there's a hell below, we're all going to go." Because I was political. Couldn't tell me.
Yeah,
I was political back then.
You know, Curtis Mayfield, if he would have came later in the game when there was music videos and all that, I would argue that he would be, he should be, he would be talked about the way Prince is talked about, you know, now. Like, he had it all.
And he did it all before he became solo, too. He was huge, man.
He was writing real shit.
Yes.
He had it all, man. Go back and listen to his stuff, man. And you've heard it in stuff before.
I guarantee you, everyone in here has heard something he's written or sung.
Yeah. One of my favorite
people get ready. So there you go.
What's another? It's another Curtis Mayfield soundtrack.
Claudine.
Song. That one. What's the? It's the one with Mavis Staples sings. Mavis.
Yeah, wasn't that Claudine? He did that. Did he do that?
He did. I'm thinking there's a song.
There's another one. There's probably another.
Mavis Staples is one of her big songs. It was from the Bill Cosby movie, wasn't it? I know people in the chat are like,
I'm driving me crazy now.
Let's do it again.
Yes. Yes.
Ooh, that song.
We sit here and murder these songs.
I know. Man, let us sister. Can you imagine? It's just that. I'm glad I was. I can only imagine if I was an adult back then. Songs like that was out and having the house parties. Because that's it's so soulful, it's sensual, it's sexual. I was like, oh. Recently, there's a video. We're just jumping all over the place. There is a video I just saw on Twitter, and it's from the 70s. It's a house party, and the people in the house party are dancing to Billie Jean. Like, I guess they had just came out.
It was an 80s party, man. Come on now.
I guess it was 80s, excuse me. With the styles, you know, it was so interesting to watch because you don't, you know, Michael Jackson stuff is somewhat so big, you don't even think that people was just playing that at the hood parties, and that's what we was jamming to. And so it was great to see that video. You know, no one had phones back then, so everybody was engaged. You know, it was grown folks. I was like, wow. Everybody was suited up, you know, wearing nice stuff. It's just interesting. Like, man, this is where we was and where we're at. But going back to the soundtrack albums, Curtis Mayfield, you definitely got to check out. Even and then just going along the years, you know, especially like I said, the 90s, like to me, Above the Rim,
Waiting to Exhale.
Waiting to Exhale. Yeah, we can't forget Crush Groove.
Oh,
track.
I ain't fat, man.
I used to wear that. I guess I just have to be the sucker. Well, yeah, Holly Rock. If I rule the world, hey.
He's so cool, man. He's so cool.
What's the Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis song? That song is excellent.
Tender Love.
Tender Love. Oh, man. The soundtracks had like all the hot songs.
Yes.
You know, it was just crazy.
Had that wore the album out in my dorm too. I remember that.
Yeah. Murder Was the Case. Yes, there's another soundtrack. This is a soundtrack that I want to get to this day because that was banging. Jason's Lyrics is a dope soundtrack, man.
You know it's a dope soundtrack. I just said dope. I can't believe that. I just said dope. But you know what a dope soundtrack is? I said it again. Love Jones.
Yes.
That's the one.
And then that Lauren, I actually bought that CD.
Oh, I have it. Yes. I've had it for years.
That song with Lauren on there. Oh,
that's at a party. I'm like, what is this? Okay. Let me grab this one and get out of here.
Yeah, man. So the soundtracks, that was, I mean, back in the, like I said, 90s, you just bought the soundtrack album. That was banging. Like, yeah, New Jack City. All of them was everyone was pretty much had
Wait a minute.
cuts.
New Jack City, did that introduce the world to Ooh. Oh yes. Well, I want to
Oh,
sex you
yeah.
up. Oh
Yeah,
yes.
man. Didn't they have was my fantasy guy that was on that no that was
Yes.
on no that was on Spike Lee one, I believe. Do the Right Thing, I think.
No.
What somebody was
No.
my fantasy on Do the Right Thing?
No.
See, now I gotta
We
look
can
at
do the nasty without no
Hey.
interrupts. Do it like this. Oh yeah. Love me some Guy back in the day. When I first heard it, Groove Me at the end, it ain't over. Don't you like the jam?
Yeah,
Party's
yeah,
not
my
over.
fantasy is on the Do the Right Thing soundtrack. Yeah,
Should I stand corrected?
but yeah. Boomerang soundtrack. Ugh. Yes. Yes. Yeah. Like I said, the soundtracks, man, was ridiculous. Now, go ahead.
Tony Braxton was blowing up then. And then Love Should Have Brought You Home. Boom. Boom. Wasn't that face in LA on that one?
I believe so. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Some other soundtracks that Prince was on. I think the first one, well, at least the one I can remember, was Bright Lights, Big City. The
Yes.
Michael J.
J.
I've never
Fox.
seen that movie.
That
but
was
I have
terrible.
soundtrack. What was the song? Goose Smiling, Slamming on the Box. I want to rock. Good Love. Good Love. That's what it was.
Yes.
I remember like it was
Movie
kind of
was
hard for me
terrible.
to find that record. And I remember hearing, I was like, there's a Prince song on this. I have to.
Gotta have it.
Yeah. I remember hearing that. I was like, oh, wow, what is this freaky song? Yeah, Good Love.
Now we stream that tonight, actually, if it's out there. I may have to watch that again.
Yeah, I don't remember what that movie was about. Was he like
He was strung out.
80s thing or something? Oh, okay.
He was strung out executive of some type.
God,
Going to the clubs all hours of the night.
hilarious. That was the white guys turned up movie. Cashed out, crashing out movie.
In the late 80s, early 90s. Yeah, let's go to the club at 4 a.m.
Was that was the yuppie thing, right?
Yep.
Part of the yuppies.
Off the heels of all the excess from Wall Street. Oh yeah.
Right. That's right. God, what was another one? Or I may be jumping ahead, but Bamboozled. Prince had a song on there.
What do you have on there?
Yeah, that was a Spike Lee movie. Was that the one Radical Man? 20 something Radical
2045 Radical Man?
Man? Yeah, he was spitting on that one. Prince was going. Yeah, they don't talk about that song, but play that one. You'll be like, oh, okay, he was early with this talk. Yeah, he was going in on that one. No, I think I had Blank Man. He had a song on Blank Man. That was that Superhero, I think.
Yeah.
Of course, Happy Feet.
The fuck?
Song of the Heart. I love that song.
Never heard it.
You must have heard it before.
I have never heard it.
What world united, singing the song. Love it. Yeah, DMSR was on Risky Business. Now, was it on the soundtrack and the movie?
Yes.
I know it was in the movie.
Oh yeah.
There
was a lot of different stuff in that soundtrack. I remember a lady friend of mine had it back then because she was a musician and she was playing all the Tangerine Dream like incidental stuff. I'm like, that's bullshit. Put on Phil Collins, put on Prince. Because they have stuff in it too. I'm like, I want to hear that.
Kenny, you up on that Young Blood soundtrack? That I don't know how I got that.
I don't remember that movie.
I've only seen bits and pieces of the movie, but just that. I'm trying to think of that song. Wake up, Happy Song. I think it's called. I love that song on that soundtrack.
Did he win an Oscar for Happy Feet?
I think he did. Yes, or definitely was nominated.
Damn. Okay.
Yeah, Happy Feet. It's kind of dope little movie. Soundtrack to the Warriors. I don't think I ever heard that. one of the Warriors. It just makes me think. Remember the movie? We're tangent for a second. Remember the movie The Wanderers?
Don't fuck with the Wongs. Oh yes, I remember that movie.
That's a cold movie, man. Like, watch that now. It's a trip. You go like, this movie is crazy.
Oh, man, I love that
Used to
movie.
watch that on TV. Used to come on TV all the time. The Wanderers, the Ducky Boys.
Yep.
They rode deep. That movie is hilarious. The Wands, anyway. Yeah, because I'm around the town, the Wanderers. Yeah, the Wanderers.
Roll
That's
around. Oh yeah,
gangster. But Best Man soundtrack, yes. Yeah, it was dope. Mandrill was the soundtrack of Warriors. Okay. Mandrill was dope. But yeah, man. I think that we mentioned all of the Prince movie stuff. And let me ask this question. Do you think he should have did more? Well, and then also there was the aborted sort of movie thing. I'll Do Anything.
was that the Nick Nolte thing?
That was a Nick Nolte movie, but I think originally it was to be a musical with all the music done by Prince.
Oh,
Some of that stuff is out there, and I know the collectors, you can hear what those songs were. I believe, remember one time somebody was trying to leak, they were going to show the movie, the cut of it with the music parts. Remember that was a couple years ago. Somebody said they was going to do that. Of course, Prince and them shut that down. But
yeah, Prince won't have that.
That's a very interesting. It'd be cool to kind of see bits and pieces of that, like original Prince music being used in this movie. Nick Nolte singing the songs. Can you imagine seeing Nick Nolte? Who thought of that? And I'm not, matter of fact, not really who thought of it. Prince was like, "Yo, I'm gonna do this." Was he just like, "Yo, I'm gonna get this bag, make this music"? It's funny. It's fun.
Now, I watched the other day, and this is another rabbit hole. I watched this guitarist break down Prince's performance on the Hall of Fame, that solo.
Okay.
And he broke it down. He's all, listen to what he does here, and you can hear where he's giving it back to the band. And he gave Tom Petty a look like, "I got you. There it is. I got you."
Man,
it was awesome.
Okay, let's check that out.
I'm Not the Last Dragon. What was that song? The Vanity song, was it Seventh Heaven?
I was not a fan of that. I was a fan of the one she had in Action Jackson, which I think Jesse produced that
yes.
song.
Yes. Jesse's done a lot of soundtrack work.
Yes, I think somebody mentioned him in the chat. What's the song he had in White Man Can Jump? Jump for it. Jump for it. That song is dope.
Yeah.
I love that song.
Jesse's a beast.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Why do I feel like that one song, no matter what you do, that was in a movie too, though. What did remember the crash and they changed their name to a different
I know they changed their name.
Yeah, they had to change the group up because the lead singer allegedly got into something. But they had a second album and it was more of a New Jack Swing. And
no, I didn't know that.
They had the first single. It was Jesse's song. It was like Love. Somebody on the comments got it. Love, no matter what they do. Can't find love. I feel like that was in a movie too. I should have. Didn't think I was be talking about that, so I don't have it in front of me. But
because I remember when the Crash first came out, I remember Donnie Simpson, just saying their name. So this is the Crash. I'm like, really? Duh. And it was DA Crash. I'm like, I am.
I guess they was early with Crash. They was on their little baby. The Crash. You guys are straight up. Oh, man, come here. Absolutely. All right, man. Any other? Let me say, Michael Bivins has a great interview.
Yes.
On
Matt Hoffa podcast. What, Matt Hoffa, is that what it's called?
That's the guy's name. I think it's actually called My Expert Opinion.
Yes.
But yeah, they're just putting out the clips. But man, it's a lot of good stuff in it. You watching this, I take it.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
Yeah, man. Very interesting. It's Michael Bivins, and yeah, man, it's interesting. He actually seems more candid than I've ever seen him before talking, because he's just talking. I'm like, whoa, okay, I get why I like them so much, because man, it's just like you sound like,
You know what? We need to get him.
We do. Well, that's understandable.
We need to get Michael Bivins.
Any of them brothers, actually. Dope. Yeah, Cool School. That was the name of the group. They changed their name to Cool School. Remember, I bought
the crash.
Yeah, I remember it was something. Singer got caught up in some kind of like he's messing with some underage or something. Yeah, it was. And back then,
we got to change the name. Yep.
You play around.
Now we're part of action.
Man, with all of that said, any other thing you want to throw out there?
My man, Christopher Tracy. Man, Cool School was terrible.
Okay.
Oh yeah, musically, here at the Bat Cave, my new amplifier arrived. The Macintosh MC312. And it's a behemoth. 105 pounds of pure power. Love it. Love.
You play your stuff out? Is that enable you to like really crank it up?
If I want to, yeah, but I don't need to. You know, when people get the big power, it's really to reproduce the big dynamic pieces in the music at lower volumes. That's all.
Oh, okay.
Because when people have like those little dinky receivers, and you turn up to like moderate, and you play a loud passage, you'll hear that distortion. And it's the speaker. That's the speaker. That's your amp reaching the limits. And so with this thing, it's just a behemoth. You know, and tomorrow, since I have nothing planned, I'm going to sit on my butt. I got a bunch of new vinyl I'm going to pull out and just cool. I'm going to put my Sign of the Times on and just zone out.
He says that, ladies and gentlemen, but what he really be playing is, "Hey, Margarita."
Who knew the song? You or me?
Well, there you go.
I hated that song. I hated that song.
You mean there won't that is?
There will be no tag team. No.
Talk about you can't really hear. This is why I really hear tag team now. You can feel it.
No. There will be no tag team tomorrow.
What's that one song? The
fuck is that?
I can't think of it. It was in the 90s. Or it doesn't matter. Anyway. All right.
No sense.
No. We're about to get up out of here for the evening. Join me tomorrow on What Did Prince Do This Week with the great D'Angelo. We will be doing our thing at 9 a.m. Pacific time. That means I got to get up early. Lord. But I love it. It's fun. Laffy Taffy. That's right. That's what you mean.
Oh, God. No.
I don't have to turn it up. Mike, I don't have to turn it up that loud. And you feel the bass and you feel the tap.
You can bank on one thing happening or not happening in this house. There will be no Laffy Taffy played on my system. No.
I already see Big Stakes. Superman now. All right, let me stop. You be fronting on the podcast. I only listen to Highbrow and reality. Somebody's like, "Hi, we want them." I'm like, whoa.
No, there'll be no.
That's why he's called Big Sex.
What's that piece in the Ice Cube album? This is Station 107.87. We won't be playing that bullshit. That bullshit out of here. Straight R&B. Straight R&B. Straight R&B.
Oh, Lord. Actually, I would love to hear. Do you have any of the time records on vinyl? I'm sure you.
Come on.
Right. Who am I talking to?
What
I mean,
time is it? Is my jam.
How does that sound? That would probably
Oh
sound
man,
crazy.
fellas, yeah, where the party at? Right here under your shoes.
Yeah. I was driving home today on the commute and the walk came on. Man, I was, I had the little top open. I was getting caught up. I was like, oh, shit, I was like crazy out here. I was like, damn, this stuff is nuts.
Dr. Claw got it perfectly. What is this riffraff?
Happy. I don't play Pound Town here. Anyway.
There'll be no Laffy Taffy. No.
Instead, you'll be like,
Take
I can see you already in there. I got the noise. Turn your body out.
I will bump that one.
Yeah.
That one I will bump.
In your drawers.
Gotta do what I gotta do, man.
All right, so we're getting stupid. That's when it's time to wrap it up. Right, wrap it up. All right, ladies and gentlemen, join us tomorrow. Definitely. And again, if you haven't already, please subscribe to the podcast. You can find it on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify. Also, Patreon link is down there. If you really want to support what we're doing, join the Patreon. We definitely appreciate it. And I guess we will see y'all the next time. I'll see you tomorrow morning. Big Sexy, again, thank you, sir, for coming on, hanging tonight.
Dude, you know me, I'm all about the music and not that Laffy Taffy nonsense.
All right, y'all. You guys have a good one.